everyone, and welcome to the next edition of the Training Talk series by Chartered Accountants Ireland. My name is Sinead from the team, and I am talking to our tutors on our various programmes. And today we're spotlighting on our Diploma in Sustainability Reporting. And I'm delighted because we have Louise Gorman, course tutor, joining us. Louise, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Great, thanks, Sinead. How are you?
I am good. Delighted to have you to talk to, because it's great to bring these things to life. You know, there's one thing reading a brochure, maybe a bit of content on the website, but it's lovely to be able to, I suppose, walk through and talk through the programme. So thank you for joining us. And look, I know you well, but folk tuning in will not assume they know you. So would you do us the honour of a bit of an introduction?
Sure. Well, I'm Louise Gorman. I'm an assistant professor in Trinity Business School. I do quite a bit of research in this area of sustainability reporting and assurance as well. And also I've been bringing it into teaching. And one of the main ways of doing that has really been working with yourselves in the Institute and designing and rolling out the Diploma in Sustainability Reporting.
Which is brilliant. And it's such a topical area. You know, it's great to see the variety of programs that we have and the growth in this area. I suppose what people want to know is what's involved? What is it all about? So could you give us a bit of I suppose, an overview, a flavour of it?
Sure. Well, the program consists of 6 modules. So the first module really just introduces you that if you know very little about sustainability reporting, introduces you to all the frameworks that are there. And we've all heard of CSRD and now the related VSME standard. And I think we've said this before, but all the acronyms, there's a lot. But we do cover that. But I suppose maybe people watching will be aware of the Omnibus that came in earlier on this year. So with that in mind, we take a broader view. We also incorporate voluntary reporting frameworks like the Global Reporting Initiative, the GRI, and also the IFRS have their sustainability reporting standards, which are being adopted in the UK. So it's useful if you're engaging with trading partners in the UK. There's value chain reporting, so you may need to report to UK trading partners while covering obviously the EU regulations as well. So the second module really does go a little bit deeper into the EU, the CSRD and the VSME standards that are here in Europe. And then we get more sort of topic specific after that. So the third module is solely on climate change, greenhouse gas emissions, energy efficiency, the CDP measures and various areas like that. And the fourth module then looks at other environmental topics. Cormac that delivers that module, he takes it from the perspective of the planetary boundary. So he's looking very much at areas like nature, pollution, water, the marine, and so on. The fifth module then is workforce. So CSRD, also the VSME standard, and indeed the voluntary frameworks and I think the IFRS are actually developing a social standard as well now. So they are developing a social standard as well. So there's a lot on workforce to be reported, health and safety, remuneration, training, and so on. And then the final module covers other stakeholders. So we look at consumers and end users, affected communities. And then we wrap up in that module with really internal management and internal control of sustainability reporting. There's a lot of data involved, a lot of unfamiliar metrics. So really how you manage the process and prepare, if you're going to have your reports assured, how do you prepare for assurance and ensure that you've got good governance around your sustainability reports. So various internal control principles that we know from accounting that we apply now to sustainability reporting as well. So I could keep talking about it, Sinead, but maybe I should stop for a breath.
No, well, to be honest, that's a great overview. And there's so much actually packed into the modules, which is great. You know, it's comprehensive, you know, as a diploma should be, which is super. A question we often get, Louise, is around the actual delivery mechanism. How is the course rolled out?
Well, it's all online via Zoom. So you log on typically about once a month. So we are doing we had actually been doing 3 hours and then you'd log back in for an hour a week later. We're changing that now. So we do 2 hours 1 week and then you log back in a week later for another 2 hours, to make it more digestible, because as we said, it's very new, very different. So to maybe take it in more bite-sized chunks. So it's monthly, but every module encompasses 2 sessions and they come 1 week after the other, over a course of about 6 months. So that's really the main thing. Like in the sessions, we look at reports. There's a big emphasis on what's already reported. And we've already seen now CSRD reports come out. We've looked at GRI reports as well. And just looking at the reports, very, very practically orientated in the sessions, exercises and activities in breakout rooms and so on. So it's primarily, and then everything you need is on the Moodle, the virtual learning environment.
Yeah, very accessible for folk then, with making it convenient. And I dread to ask, but we always get the questions on it. Assessment, how is the thing assessed?
It's terrible. No, it's not. It's fine.
Blood, sweat, tears.
We try to make we do, I think, manage to make the assessment very valuable in that you're really applying what you're learning in a sort of a workplace mindset. So we do a lot with existing reports. So you're effectively assessing an existing report and answering questions on it. So the assessment comes in 2 pieces. The first piece comes after the 3rd module. So that's the module on climate change, where you would at this stage covered all the various different frameworks, done a bit of a deeper dive into the EU standards and covered climate change. So you're really applying all the principles we would have covered in module 1 and module 2 to climate change and looking at how a company has reported, and you're forming an opinion on that. Then the second piece comes after the 6th module. So a lot of the content we're looking at there in the reports will be on other environmental aspects, like nature reporting now really is as big as climate reporting. So a lot on that, also workforce reporting. And then there's a little bit then on, how you control, how you manage this data, a few questions in that regard as well. But it's quite manageable. You have about a month to do each assignment. You submit them, you get your grade a few weeks later, and we haven't really gone too terribly hard on anyone with assessment, but I know it is always the one that people want to know about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it's good to just step through that. What can folk expect? And in your opinion, I suppose, who is this programme ideally best suited to? I'm conscious, and you're aware, and no doubt have involvement across the board. We have programmes in sustainability, different types of ones. So we've got certificate, we've got this one, and then another one with an insurance element bolted on. So who is this ideally catered for?
Mm-hmm. I suppose this would sit in the middle. So it's not a general sustainability qualification. It is reporting specific, but it does do a little bit on preparation for assurance, but it doesn't get very deep into assurance. And that's really, if you want to be an assurance provider in this area, until the 1st of January 2026, there's a grandfathering process in place where if you do 60 hours of theoretical training and you're a statutory auditor, you're then qualified to assure sustainability reports for the purposes of the CSRD. So the Diploma in Sustainability Reporting and Assurance, that's the one for you then. This diploma, on the other hand, is just reporting. So really, I think a big audience or big element of our cohort that would take the diploma every few months would be those in businesses, in companies that want to begin or develop a sustainability reporting journey. I think initially a lot of those people were those who would have been reporting under CSRD. Now we've tailored the diploma so that, yes, it covers that, but it also is tailored to those who just want to voluntarily engage in sustainability reporting, maybe take some of the guidelines of the CSRD and apply them as suits themselves, or to take the VSME standard, or to go with a completely different framework like the GRI. And as I said, be aware of what's happening in other countries as well, like in the UK with the IFRS standards. So really, it's primarily for those who would be considering preparing a sustainability report for their organisation or business.
And makes sense. And I think it was important just to touch on that, because there is a variety of choice there available to folk. And I suppose, what would you say? Any parting words, any final thoughts? Someone's considering it. What maybe would you say to them, Louise?
I would say it's a very valuable learning experience. And really, like when I say reporting for business, we've had participants who are reporting in organisations that they're not for profit or public sector or whatever it might be. So if you're in a position that you're considering a sustainability report at all, it's a very valuable piece of training to have. A lot of people have thought maybe sustainability is going away with the announcement, the Omnibus announcement and so on. But the fact of the matter is that climate change, the nature crisis and so on remains, and companies and organisations are dependent on the natural environment and on society. And really that presents financial risks, financial opportunities. So it makes business sense to start thinking about sustainability. So I really think it's something that it's no longer nice to have, that it really is a must have, irrespective of whether you're required to by regulation or not. And it's a nice 6-month training package that you can do quite easily, but cover a lot in doing so.
Brilliant. That was a brilliant roundup just to walk through everything. We get brilliant feedback as well from it. Participants get an awful lot out of the program, all 3 programs. So Louise, thank you so much for taking the time to give us that whistle stop tour. Always really appreciate your time and your input. So much appreciated.
You're more than welcome, Sinead.
Great. And folks tuning in, for more information, we'll put some details on the next screen, or you can check out the caption. And until next time, we will see you soon. Thanks for watching.